So I got threatened the other day. As some of you may know, I work at a gas station, a petrol station, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I work at a gas station, and the other day I was working, and I served an old lady, and she came up to me, she paid for her stuff, and she mentioned that, oh, there's a young lad out there that's asking people for money, knocking on people's windows and shit, asking for money. And she's like, oh yeah, I seen him, like, he did it to us, and he did it to a whole bunch of other people. So I just told her, I'll keep an eye out for him. And like, this is not uncommon. I mean, I'm fairly sure that at every gas station you meet those fucking people that ask people for money, It's not unusual. But anyway, for the next couple of minutes, I was just looking out the window, just, making sure if I can see anything going on, if I can see this young fella that she was talking about asking people for money. But yeah, I was looking and there was nobody there. So, it was very quiet. There was nobody there. So I just thought, okay, maybe he just went home or something. Maybe he just gave up on his quest and decided to go somewhere else and fetch for money. A few minutes later, this young lad comes up to me and he pays for €10 of fuel, which I didn't think much of it, He's just a normal fella that's coming in to pay for fuel. But then, a couple minutes later, he comes back and he pays for about €25 worth of overpriced sweets and drinks that we sell. And he gives me a €50 note. Now keep that in mind. It's very important for later. So, once again, I thought nothing of it. But as I was looking at the cameras for the next couple of minutes, I seen the same young fella going up to an older gentleman who was filling up his car, and he stands beside him and he starts chatting away to him. Which at that point, my spider sense had a fucking seizure. I knew instantly, I had a gut feeling that this is the man that's been going around asking for money. Because, I clearly seen him going from his car to the other fella's car on the cameras, and standing beside him and chatting away to him, which, that's quite fucking uncommon. So I instantly, I let my supervisor know, I let all the other people know that I was working with that, oh, this is the fella, make sure you say something, this is our guy. So a couple minutes later, the older gentleman and the young lad, they come over to pay for the fuel, and they come to my till. Of course they fucking, and they skip the queue, which is one of my biggest pet peeves. I mean, how do you not see a whole snake line of people waiting to buy their stuff? Like, how do you not see that there is a queue? People that skip the queue are just, I hate them. I hate them. So I'm there serving the older gentleman and the young lad. And the young lad goes to me. He says that the older gentleman is going to pay for his fuel. Which then I asked the older man, are you going to pay for his fuel? Which he says that, yeah, he is, because, he has no way of getting home or some shit. He fed him absolute bollocks. He fed him pure fucking bullshit. This older gentleman was an American tourist as well. So he didn't know any better. But this absolute master manipulator manipulates this older gentleman to paying into his fuel, basically saying that he has no way home and all that crack. He doesn't have any money. Fucking bullshit. So I look at the young lad and say, no, he's not gonna pay for your fuel. And this young lad goes absolutely batshit fucking crazy. He goes ballistic. This young lad must have had an absolute identity crisis, because his little scam crumbled all on the floor like a fucking granola bar. But he did not want to give up. Oh no, he was not finished. So he starts getting really fucking rowdy. He starts absolutely screaming the whole shop down. And he's like, oh, why is he not paying for my fuel? Yes, he is. Like, oh, why this, why that? To which I tell him, very professionally by the way, that I've seen him going around on the cameras asking people for money for fuel and shit, even though he already came to me and made two different transactions, paying literally €25 for sweets, and me seeing him having a wad of fucking money in his pocket, and that I gave him, change out of the €50 that he gave me. Then he proceeds to say, no, I didn't. Which, in fairness, is a very strong case. I do not know how I could possibly combat that argument. Saying, no, I didn't, in a very high-pitched voice. I mean, shit, I must be wrong. I must be wrong. I'm sorry. But yeah, I proceed to say, look, lad, you know, you can't fool a fool, man. And he starts screaming at me. He starts fucking going even more ballistic. He starts roaring the shop down, saying, oh my God, like, you won't let me go home. I'm just trying to get home and shit like that. And he's getting way more aggressive at this point. And like, there's people in the queue, you know, they're fed up with this because they clearly know that he's lying as well, you know. And the older gentleman, God bless him, he keeps insisting that he's going to pay for it and he's going to pay for it. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, he's a fucking scammer. So I knew the only way to get this absolute degenerate of a human being out of the shop and have this whole situation over was to actually let the old man pay for the fuel. I know, bad decision probably, but I knew that we were going to actually give back the money to the older gentleman, so he wasn't actually paying for anything. Like, he wasn't losing any money, you know, we were going to give him the money back. So the old man pays for the fuel, and then the young lad says this. He passed the old man on the back, and he says, oh, I hope you have a great day, God bless you. And then he turns to me, he points at me and goes, and you should keep your fucking mouth shut. Which I completely laughed off, and I said, yeah, okay, sure, buddy. I mean, this absolute scumbag must have been practicing this line in the mirror or something, because my timbers were fucking shivering. I have never felt more fear from a degenerate scumbag that scams old people. I was shook. Which, the whole situation is just absolutely disgusting, you know? Like, imagine scamming old people for money when you have money yourself. And like, just having no morals or ethics at all, just scamming old vulnerable people. It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting. I was fucking angry. I was so angry at the whole situation. But anyway, the little rat, he scurried off then after verbally threatening me and telling me to keep my mouth shut. But he scurries off to his little shitbox and drives off, probably to go home to his friends and brag about how he's such a big hard lad and how nobody should mess with him because he is such a gangster. So after the whole situation died down, you know, we went to the old man, we gave him his money back. You know, we apologized for the whole situation, took down his details, and we rang the guards, you know, and they said that they'll sort it out. They also said that the young lad that was actually doing all these scams was very well known to him, and like, they know who he is, they know where he lives, you know, he's had previous charges and shit, and that they'll sort it all out. But yeah, that's just a little interaction I wanted to share with you guys that I had with this absolute gooner imbecile who scams old people for money, which it's just disgusting, to be honest. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you whenever I see you. Good luck.